Ladies and gentlemen, take a look at this out of the wrap. We've got Kathleen Kennedy here, and this is my first indicator, Marvin, that Kathy's retirement and the rehabilitation efforts by Deadline have failed. Because if you're going to find a friend, then the phone a friend would come from someone like The Wrap. You know, Screen Rant, The Wrap, you know the groups. I want to show you how they're covering Kathleen Kennedy, and I think this is existential to them. This is under the pro stuff. We're not going to read too much of it because we don't want to do the behind the scenes of a paywall. But Drew Taylor says Kathleen Kennedy's Lucasfilm legacy, a galaxy in disarray. The executive's tenure was defined by a swirl of high highs, low lows, and a bevy of projects in development hell. Now, the funny thing about that, Marvin, is I actually agree with that headline. She did have high highs. She came in with The Force Awakens. She essentially got the good joys of the audience who wanted to come back and see Star Wars and experience it. Then we got to the low lows, which was everything after The Last Jedi. Minus, by the way, Mandalorian Season 1 and 2, which she also destroyed by kicking out Gina Carano and taking away the retro characters and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And then the development hell, right? The fact that these people are talking about this. I'll read just the first, let's do 3 paragraphs. And Marvin, I want to pick your brain on this. Sure. It says, Kathleen Kennedy was one with the Force until she wasn't. And now at the end of her tenure at Lucasfilm with current Chief Creative Officer Dave Filoni and Lin-Manuel Brennan, misspelled, current President and General Manager of Lucasfilm Business taking over, she leaves behind a complicated legacy of commercial hits, critical darlings, costly misfires, and several filmmakers who were hired then fired from a galaxy far, far away. This goes on to essentially lay out the case that Kathleen Kennedy didn't do a great job, and all of her hits essentially came at the beginning, and all of the misfires came in rapidly thereafter. She hasn't produced a film in Star Wars in 7 years. The only film that she was able to get across in the last 7 years, Indiana Jones: The Dial of Destiny, huge failure.
The biggest failure in the history of Lucasfilm. I mean, pretty sure that I'm pretty sure that did worse than Howard the Duck. It was, you know.
You leave Leia Thompson out of this.
But she is. She coasted off the fact that people really wanted Star Wars again. They were told that Han Solo, Princess Leia, Luke Skywalker are all in this movie, and that's why The Force Awakens made almost $2 billion, over $2 billion, I think.
Right.
And but then you saw with each subsequent installment of the sequel trilogy, less and less money being made until you got to the point with The Rise of Skywalker, where audience interest went down, budgets went up to the point where that cost $600 million. It's to the point where The Rise of Skywalker, we uncovered on that Park Place, actually lost money.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And so overall, it is very possible that she lost money for Disney, not made money. And you got to remember, not only should you break even, not only should you make money, but you need to make enough to justify the ROI, the return of investment. Nowhere close. And the way we come up with that, Marvin, is what you do is this, and, you know, because people think, well, now, come on, that can't be true. All you have to do to figure out that Star Wars probably lost money under Kathleen Kennedy, take all of those profits from the first films that made profit, okay? Mm-hmm. Then go to the Disney Plus series. Figure out what their costs are. Now, Mandalorian Season 1 and Season 2, I think, grew the Disney Plus subscriber base. But I think that Boba Fett, Obi Kenobi, all these Obi-Wan, you know, all these series, Acolyte, Ahsoka, I don't think they gave them any subscribers. I don't think they did any good for Disney, and therefore they're just losses. Whatever they cost is a loss, and it doesn't take long of doing that to go, oh, this is a very bad financial history for Kathleen Kennedy. And the big deal is that the media, so the legacy media, the stodgy ones, right, like Deadline and Variety, they'll carry the water. They don't care. But places like The Wrap, Marvin, places like Screen Rant, they do have to hang on to some kind of viewership, readership. And I think Kathy's so unpopular that even with their crowd, they can't carry the water anymore.
Well, Variety even yesterday was kind of, I noticed that they were talking about like the high highs and the low lows. Like they actually acknowledged that there were issues. Whereas Deadline, I mean, Mike Fleming Jr. is firmly embedded in Kathleen Kennedy's colon. I mean, that dude, he is so up.
It makes you wonder what's going on there. Yeah, it makes you wonder what's going on. Like, does he have, you know, does Frank Marshall have some sort of connection there where there's, you know, I don't know.
Well, so do you remember a year ago when Puck first said, hey, in the next year, she's going to leave and Dave Filoni's going to take over?
Right.
Mike Fleming Jr. was the one that did that big interview with her where she was all defiant about it. Also, he went at Matt Bellany and was basically like, "You don't know anything," and blah blah blah. Matt Bellany called him a sycophant, and so of course it's Mike Fleming Jr. doing the big exit interview with Kathy because who else would it be?
So, what do you make about the fact that she protested so much, Marvin? I mean, she had to know this was coming. She managed to make it 15 days past when Puck predicted she would be gone. She made it 15 days total. That's, it's embarrassing. I think she probably thought she was going to get to stay until the Mando movie came out and try to get a win. What do you think about all this protesting from her? She'll never retire, blah, 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 blah. And she's out the door months later.
Well,
like 3 months later.
To me, like, 'cause this wasn't like, hey, Dave Filoni is going to take the reins in June 1st or whatever. Like, it seems to me from when I read that like this is now, like she's gone.
Yeah, she's done today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean that to me, because normally like you don't think Bob Iger. They're not going to announce Bob Iger's replacement on the day that he leaves. Like that's going to be a big announcement long beforehand, and he will have an end date, and then it'll be a celebration of all things Bob Iger up to that point. With Kathleen Kennedy, it looks like they just broomed her out the door
and replaced her with a woman who looks almost exactly the same as she does.
Yeah, well, and she's that Lin Brennan has been running Lucasfilm with Kathleen Kennedy for a very long time on the business side. She
but isn't this bizarre? Okay, wait, Marvin. Isn't this bizarre though that in all of Kathleen Kennedy's movies, she self-inserts a character that looks just like her. And she elevated, apparently as soon as she came in with as soon as George Lucas put her in charge. Because Lin Brennan, I believe, has been in charge of ILM for 16 years, right? Kathy has been in charge for 14 years, but before that, she still had significant oversight. And it seems like as soon as Kathy came into Lucasfilm, she put a woman who looks just like her in charge of ILM. And as Kathy leaves, a woman who looks just like her will be co-president. There's something weird. There's something strange about that.
It's called wild, unrepentant narcissism.
Yeah.
Look, I think that Kathy has Critical Drinker did a great video about her years ago, like about like her rise through and like her career up to that point. And I think
go away, no.
Yeah, I think Kathy had a long I think Kathy has a lot of inferiority complex to work through, and that was what she was trying to do because she's the boss now. Because I think that she was always in the room with very important people, but never given the credit because she didn't deserve the credit. So yeah, I think that it is. I think what we saw was her trying to make that happen. That she was trying to make herself the biggie there.
Absolutely. Okay, so as we're looking at what's happened to Lucasfilm, though, Marv, they're not. I don't think anybody's celebrating, and I think you're exactly right. This is very odd for Kathleen Kennedy to just suddenly be gone. The announcement is made, and the next day she's gone. I don't think this is how it would work out for Kevin Feige, right? I don't think this is how it would work out for Bob Iger, for Josh D'Amaro, for Dana Walden. I mean, we can go through the list. All these people always get their celebratory 6 months or whatever. There's no transition. It's just bye-bye. Bye, Kathy. Get out of here. And that's different.
Well, and you look at when it comes to things like Jennifer Salke, who was fired. I mean, that was another one where it was like they announced that she decided to leave the day that she left. That's what she was fired.
You know what this is like? It's like Bob Chapek. I mean, they announced it and she's gone. I mean, she got Bob Chapek. There's no way. Think about it, Marv. 3 months ago, this woman was screaming, "I'm not leaving. I'll never retire." And now the day that it's announced, she's gone.
It is she in Deadline is making the case that this has been in the cards for 2 years, that she started the search for her replacement 2 years ago, that she's been kind of guiding the two of them to take over for all this time. Like, oh, this is all planned. No, I'm 100% leaving. Like, well, if that was the case, Kathy, then why wouldn't you set it for, immediately after The Mandalorian, so that like you would like it would just be basically the Viking funeral, that Doomcock talked about for so long, that they were going to give her. It was none of that. They broomed her out the door.
She didn't even get a Lifetime Achievement Award from any of the. I think that she walks away in disgrace. And I know some people are saying, that the Empire won, and I'm not going to argue with that because, she stuck around long enough that the franchise is deeply, deeply damaged and may not come back. But then again, I guess I'll wrap this conversation up this way, Marvin, and your thoughts on it, please. I think the fans are going to take it back, and I think that was the inevitable conclusion that Disney has come to. The fans are going to take the franchise back. The tools are going to be given to the fans to do that. And maybe people like Filoni and Lin-Manuel Brennan, maybe their only job is to steward these characters while the fans do all the rest.
Well, and they're trying to definitely make it seem like that, because what you have now is a situation where, like, all of a sudden they're bringing original trilogy characters into, Galaxy's Edge. So now suddenly it's like, look, we're giving you what you want. We're doing everything that you want. No, you're not really. Like, you're just making it seem like you are. It's still, at the end of the day, I don't think we're going to get any meaningful change here. The Force is not female anymore, maybe because she's gone, but the Force is definitely male feminist with Dave Filoni in charge.
Thanks for watching That Park Place News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.